From the time my younger son was diagnosed with schizophrenia, I realised how really important it was to accept that he has this kind of illness. Or the most important thing was to understand the illness itself. And to do that, I and every carer needs to have education. We need to understand how we actually communicate with them in that fantasy world. We need to know the kind of words, we need to know the kind of feelings, how we actually talk to them. A great example was at the time when my boy had the fantasy that I wasn't his mother. There are instances where the person has delusions or has fantasies or hallucinations, what it might be, and we don't understand exactly how those thought patterns are with our person, and we use our natural instincts to try and talk with our person. There was a time when my boy really thought I wasn't his mother, and he would be telling me some weird, bizarre stories of where he was actually born. One was that he got the loan of my womb to be born, but he actually came from outer space. The reality of what he was saying was for him the truth. For me, it wasn't. So I realised that I was doing the wrong thing by trying to argue with him and telling him what I understood. And it was at a moment where I was all by myself with him, and I was very frightened by his response and how he was getting more and more agitated. So a natural instinct within me said, keep quiet, which I did. But during this walk, I realised I need to talk to a professional. And it was when I did speak to a clinician that he did explain to me that it was important not to argue with him, not to agree with him, but not to argue with him, and just say to him, I respect what you think, but it's a different position that I'm coming from. It's not your fault that the illness has occurred. So again, it's learning to accept and to understand that this has happened, and you were a good person as a mother or a father or whatever you were, and you didn't actually contribute to those symptoms that your person had. It wasn't until I became part of the team that I then was able to become more productive in how I managed working with my own son, but that also helped me look after myself as well. I realised how important it was to keep your family as cohesive and as understanding as possible, because when you can do that, the recovery of your relative who's ill is so much better. Buying the book will explain to you perhaps my personal life, how we grew up as a family, and the attitude of all my other children towards their ill brother, the impact I had from my learning experiences, and the experiences that I had working with other families, particularly from culturally diverse families. And if you're a clinician or working in the field, I think you will learn some of the cultural difficulties that people who are from diverse communities perhaps don't speak English very well. And it is important to understand that, because I'm from a Greek background, although born in Australia, but the impact of the illness brought out the cultural diversity within me. That was the way I was brought up as a Greek girl. And that played quite a big role in the way I saw my mother role.